Hemingway advises making each word count 3 to 4 ways, so let's see what we're working with. Redux Contemporary Art Center is 20, if you can believe that. If that fact dates you, then welcome to the club. Around 2004, my husband Brian and I took a screen printing crash course at the old spot on St. Philip's. We knew that this hub of creativity was necessary and truly a boon for the city we loved. Redux is a bustling place. The energy is palpable. And the complexity lies not just in visual intrigue, but there are also sounds, think throughout the day, hammering, music, sewing machines, King Street. There are smells like paint, turpentine, ramen warming in the communal microwave. King Street. If it's been a minute since you've been in, come see us. So I have enthusiasm for days, but some are like this. It'll switch in a minute. When I'm gripped by the paralysis of not enough. I mean, if you're not waking up at 2 a.m. with revolutionary ideas and heart palpitations, what are we even doing? Growing up on Hilton Head in the 80s, I distinctly remember my first class at the then rural community arts center. We tie-dyed, and I was sold. If I get to play some small role in creating access to the creative process for young people, that's an absolute gift. So our childhood home featured predictable coastal scenes, but also a collection of prints by Leroy Neiman. I loved the grown-up subject matters, but the colors and the movement. And Brian and I always followed along with the Redux artists. When I saw Teal Duncan's work, it spoke directly to those memories from childhood. And what at the time felt like a very brazen move because we had no money and no idea what it meant to collect art, we went to Redux and met with Teal to talk about commissioning a piece. It was a stumbly process because all of us were new to it. Her career was in its infancy, and that was okay. And this is just one way that Redux serves. It creates space for us to take the stuffiness out and instill the humanity. It allows genuine connection and dismisses the illusion of stodgy pomp, rather encouraging conversation among contemporaries. In Barnville, South Carolina, not far from all the places I've mentioned, my grandmother's modest ranch was right next to the First Baptist. The homestead was a bastion of predictability, and we were shocked as young kids when she built herself an art studio, like a proper studio, and those last images were hers. The subjects that she painted were not controversial, but there was something intrepid about her owning her skill and her commitment to her practice. It felt shocking. She was demure and Southern, and I, on the other hand, to quote Abby from Broad City, am all caps and sometimes need to be case sensitive. So we each have energy inside of us, and we alone are responsible for channeling it to benefit the greater good, and I take that very seriously. There is inspiration at every turn and a need for reflection to effectively serve. I practice all kinds of woo-woo strategies to maintain balance, like keeping chakras clear for the movement of our kundalini or creative energy. Our practices make space for clarity around the polarities and dualism present in ourselves, in the people we encounter, in the social systems, and of course in art. We see who we are reflected in these places. Ram Dass says, we walk down the street together. You're hungry. All you see are restaurants. I'm in fear, so all I see are threatening people. We see who we are reflected in these places. So I love the woo-woo, but I also really dig the concrete. Like literally, I studied buildings and their preservation at C of C. Attaining a better understanding of our built environment, the incredible furnishings and art, both ornate and utilitarian inside of them, continue to be a source of fascination. So during this time, though, I quickly realized that I loved working in nonprofits and that this might just be a retrospective of all the cool buildings I've gotten to work in over the years. It matters where we spend our time, though. And along with that energy, along with our time, our energy is our greatest currency, so we have to be careful about where we're spending it. So back to the management of said energy. After years of regaling my family and friends with music history, anecdotes, and unsolicited playlists, I redirected it into hosting and self-producing a show called Easy Does It on Ohm Radio 96.3 FM. My commitment to Ohm grew as I joined the board, and I still serve as the programming chair. I was recording the show from home at the time of lockdown, and pictured here is my family as captured by King and Fields in their Front Porch series. And to be involved in their creative process at this point was invaluable. But look at my face. I was terrified. I was terrified for the future, for my kids, for our communities, and for these institutions that we love. I was holding my breath. Inspired by the lead of local activist Mika Gadsden, also an OHM alum, I realized the social responsibility and obligation I had to the Ohmies to share truth and forego the fun-fueled vibe fest that the show had previously been. So we channel, we serve, we create. Our dear friends at the Poorhouse asked me to create this banner around this same time. You belong here. Another organization, that serves as a hub for creativity and a safe space for us to allow our collective freak flags to fly. Okay, back to work. The way I see it, when working in the nonprofit sector, your job is to raise awareness, execute programming, and raise funds. Some folks say they don't have the stomach to ask for money. Again, you'd better believe in the work you're doing and the places and people it's serving. You're likely to host an auction or 10, and the auctions happen fast, just like that slide. You call in every favor that you have, and it's a calculated gamble, and it's the most fun ever. As famed New York Magazine art critic Jerry Salt says, it's consciousness, that art is consciousness embedded in material, and we are the picture-making, pattern-recognizing freedom machines. So this is the goal. This is my Aunt Lila. Joel, I'm showing family pictures. Doing what makes us feel alive and honoring this gripping and inspiring and often terrifying human existence, let's collectively poke holes in the stodgy, pomp-enshrouding conversations and create accessibility around art and creativity. Remain open to connection with others and seeing each other as a reflection of self. Beauty, after all, is almost always a matter of angles and resolve. Come see us at Redux.